You're now listening to No Gimmicks.
No Gimmicks Podcast, and we bring it to you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down, this the time we move around. No Gimmicks Podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring, this is the time for No Gimmicks, no we doing our thing. What's your state of mind, state of mind? Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar, the F5, no gimmicks. We take you to your limit, what's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on, it's the time. Guarantee we move, you know how we respond. The state design, when we feel it. Moving down, what's the healing? No gimmicks is the feeling.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the No Gimmicks Podcast here on the DFPN. And I wish we were coming to you under better circumstances. We had some news break over the weekend, and we got to talk about it. And joining me, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen, none other than the OG himself, Mr. Frank D. Vader. Welcome back, sir.
You know, it's been a while since I heard that theme song play for the actual No Gimmicks Podcast. I mean, the real, no disrespect, but the real No Gimmicks Podcast, the dynamic duo, the ones that talk all that ish, they're back right now because, yeah, man, we're going to get into it, but I'm going to flat out right now say this is a bunch of bullshit, straight up.
Hey,
straight up.
Way to break the ice. Way to break the ice.
Yeah.
You know what? So the releases. This show is going to be dedicated to them.
Yeah.
The Friday, the weekend before, we got a bunch of releases. We got some names on there that were some head scratchers. People they had just signed back to the company, like Santos Escobar. They signed him to a multi-year deal last year.
Right.
Aleister Black, they signed to a deal last year.
Yeah.
Zelina Vega, they had released, and she was on her way to AEW. They re-signed her. There was a whole bunch of head scratch. The entire Wyatt Six gone from the company. And they follow it up this week with the New Day deciding to walk after it was reported that TKO / WWE was trying to restructure their deal. New Day didn't like it, so New Day are no longer with the WWE. Then we got Tongaloa, JC Mateo, who, if you watch SmackDown, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion. They weren't going to be there any longer because that whole MFT angle, it just, the way they ended it, it seemed abrupt. And they're no longer with the company.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna. You haven't been here in a while. I'm gonna open up the floor to you to talk about what is going on with WWE right now.
Is it really WWE or is it WCW? I mean, because I'm looking here and all the different financial situations that's going on here. You know, TKO wants WWE to slash millions. You and I were just talking about that before we started recording.
Yep.
And I mean, that could be the case here. I thought, you know, it was very odd the way Jacob Fatu just destroyed the MFTs on SmackDown. I think it was like last week, right? That he just went out there and just killed them off. And I think the only two people left from that faction are going to be, unless he leaves, Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga are the only ones left with Solo Sikoa. So I thought that was interesting. Listen, nothing against Tonga Loa, but it was a foregone conclusion, dude, that you were the botch master of that, you know, Bloodline 2.0. I don't know what happened to Bro's skills, or I don't get it. I mean, he had been there previously as Camacho. Remember that when he was with he was on the SA gimmick.
Him and Roman were a
forgot.
tag team in FCW for a minute too.
Right. So I don't know what happened there, but I was surprised to see that because right now what's going on television wise, that they would release these guys out the blue, talking about Mateo and Tonga Loa. That just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
Yeah.
Then the entire Y6 faction gone, and what that I mean, if you break down the Y6, you got Bo Dallas, who you got Nikki Cross, who's been there forever.
Yep.
You got a lot of cats there, man. Joe Gacy, another one.
Yep.
That you got a lot of guys there. You brought Eric Rowan back. You brought Dexter Loomis back for this particular gimmick, and you did nothing with it. Like, I don't know. And then there was a story that went out there too about somebody in TKO is not a fan of dark gimmicks or whatever. That's the story that's going around.
Yeah.
Like, really can't confirm it. I don't necessarily think that's true.
I don't either.
But it is what it is. And then we move on down, Santos Escobar, bro. Like, this dude here literally left the company. They persuaded him to come back to the company, did nothing. And we talked about this before. Like, dude, you hired this guy back and we haven't seen him perform. We haven't seen him do anything unless he's been on Main Event or something.
He was down in AAA for a minute, but again, they didn't do a lot with him in AAA either.
Right. So that's like the writings on the wall there. Like, you basically hired people to keep them from going to AEW. That's what I get from that.
Yeah.
Then we get down to really the bigger ones here. You release Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. You cut them. Okay, after you brought him back, Aleister back to the company, you now decide to cut him. You cut Zelina. After you turn her heel with Aleister, they're trying to do something, and you let him go. But then the main event just happened yesterday. I was busy inundated yesterday doing 501st stuff. I didn't see anything until later on. Wow, New Day, and I saw a post that you made, and you said the WWE had. New Day, or excuse me, WWE had you mentioned about the God and the Usos. That was the first thing that kind of got to me, like, what is this dude talking about? So that was the first one. Then the New Day thing happened, and it said New Day agreed to walk away from WWE, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So everybody is pretty much expendable, is what they're saying. If they're going to if they're going to cut costs anywhere they can. These guys are making 7 figures, apparently. They're gonna.
Yeah.
That's what they're telling you. So if you are Randy Orton, are you expendable at this point?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a very good question. Because if you look at what the New Day brought to the table, not just as a tag team, because as a tag team, they're the longest reigning champions ever in the company. They are one of the most decorated tag teams ever. They were a part. New Day brought a lot of black culture to WWE and kept it not in the forefront. Lately, they kind of trailed off, and you can argue creative all you want, but a lot of creative. What they brought to the table just in ring was phenomenal. But then you start getting to the stuff like up, up, down, down, which is Xavier Woods' thing. The work that he did with WWE 2K and working with, he actually was the voice of the fans behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know that, but he brought a lot of stuff back to the game that a lot of the fans were clamoring for. And WWE 2K25 was part of that wave that people said the game's actually starting to get better. And you start working on that little by little. Xavier Woods is a very, very big part of that because of his work in the gaming community and with up, up, down, down. They don't like to mention that stuff, but losing that is a very big loss because New Day as a tag team was an asset, but the work that each individual did behind the scenes, very big asset. You've seen the locker room come out in droves yesterday and not just WWE, around the industry, acknowledging the work that the New Day has done, and feeling like it felt really sad because now they're walking away. But if I'm being honest, it creates a lot more opportunities for them. It really does.
I agree with that. If you think of the totality of the situation here and just the individual talents, I mean,
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston on his own, I mean, just phenomenal talent. Then you look at Austin Creed on his own, phenomenal talent.
Yep.
Then you had Big E in there as well. You know, these guys, honestly, if you want to keep it 1,000 here, like we do on this podcast, these guys were not supposed to make it. They were not supposed to make it. New Day in the beginning, they had no direction at all. I remember the early days of the New Day. They had no direction. It wasn't until they turned heel. I think it was like 2015. They turned heel, and that's when people started getting with them. But then you heard New Day rocks. Now we fast forward to the heel turn, and it just went off the rails. They had something there for like a couple weeks.
They did,
and then WWE or Grok or Chat GPT just didn't know what to do with them. So, and that was the end of it. You know, they had nothing. They had nothing for New Day other than we're gonna put them with Grayson Waller. Who, hey, listen, who would say Grayson Waller is not next on the list to be let go?
No one's.
And I hate saying that. I hate saying that. But this right now, this is some ruthless vatos right now. With this stuff, like seriously, like this dude. There are so many different parallels here with WCW. Is crazy to me. Just what's going on here.
Yeah,
it's like the corporation has come in and it's basically telling you, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I mean, because real quick, bro, like you hear all the time about the stuff that Turner Broadcasting would make WCW do. One of those things, if you listeners out there remember, one of the things that they made them do on TV was RoboCop. They made them do that because it was a tie-in. They made a deal to tie in with the movie. So they said that was the worst thing that they could ever do because the guy couldn't do anything. It's like he couldn't do a run-in because he can't run in the suit. And they couldn't do anything. So it's like it was. They were like, "Oh, what are we doing here? They got us doing this. They got us doing this crap. So we just have to do it." So that's what I'm talking about. And the parallel with that is look at what happened with Pat McAfee, where TKO just shoot him right into this Orton. I thought Randy was doing phenomenal work on his own, leading up to WrestleMania, but the people weren't booing him. The people were with him. And they were still with him at WrestleMania. But you add Pat McAfee into the equation here, and that's like I'm saying, bro, like TKO, Turner Broadcasting, WWE, WCW.
For their troubles though, they do not allow Triple H to go through this unscathed. Because anytime something like this happens, they're like, no. Because with the last round of cuts, they were like, no. TKO and WWE were very much involved. Nick Khan, Triple H, and TKO all work together. They don't let them slide. And it's wild because if you look at it, like people like Kairi Sane, we didn't even talk about her in the middle of a storyline. She was in the middle of a storyline. There were a lot of people in the middle of storylines, and it's just like, what happened? Are you going to pay this off? And you cut them, and now we're supposed to pretend like this storyline didn't happen. We didn't even get a payoff to some of this stuff. And it's like, what are y'all doing? Are you at least going to let them go out fairly? Nope. Just gone.
No. Gone.
Nope.
Not to be mentioned or seen. I mean, what did Solo Sikoa say on SmackDown? You took my army. Talking about Jacob. Storyline wise. I mean, and we still don't know the status of Tama Tonga at this point.
Nope.
Although I believe he's staying.
I don't know, bro, because when they did that deal, Tonga Loa was a part of that. So I don't know. because he wanted to do stuff with his brother. And
they've always done stuff with it. Yeah, they've always done it.
You didn't get that. The fact that we didn't get God versus the Usos. We didn't get God versus the New Day. There's the Motor City Machine Guns were in the company. They got released. You didn't get none with them. You had a whole bunch of tag teams in this company that you could have been doing stuff with. Like you could have revitalized the tag team division in WWE, but you didn't even take the opportunity to do that.
You know what's funny, bro? You bring out the Motor City Machine Guns, and I just, when it comes down to Motor City Machine Guns, my favorite of the two has always been Chris Sabin. Always enjoyed his work. I'm not really a big fan of Alex Shelley. I saw a video of some crap with Shelley in Vegas, just him just being a prick to some people that he was signing for. I don't.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you straight up. This year, I don't blame any talent, not one bit, bro. The fans were being douches this year.
And well, this was at an actual. This was on an actual, but this is an actual WWE event where I saw this video.
No, I get it because this year, and I experienced this firsthand, and not to deviate, but I experienced this firsthand. So I flew out of Dallas with Damian Priest and Adam Scherr, who was formerly known as Braun Strowman. They were on the same flight as me. Bro, we get to Vegas, the airport is empty. When I say empty for Vegas, it's like minimal. There's like no people in there. To the point we get to the baggage claim, and it's just our flight. And bro, out of nowhere, I don't know how they knew they were there, but out of nowhere, bro, like fans just came and bombarded them. And it was just like, it made me uncomfortable. And I'm nowhere near these guys. And I'm like, bro, where did these people come from? And like not just ordinary fans, people with books and binders of pictures that they wanted signed. You know it's going to eBay, and you can see the look. You can see the look, and they're trying not to be mean. Adam Scherr, for his part, like he didn't really care too much, but Damian Priest is like, come on, man, I can't sign this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's not an official signing. And he's trying to be nice. And it just made me like, I'm going to keep my distance from these guys because, bro, and that's just at the airport. Around town, I can only imagine, and especially at their hotel, because this year there was a lot of complaints about they had zero privacy. Zero privacy. Fans were just going up. You saw the video with CM Punk and the fan. And it's like, bro, you're interrupting moments. Like they have zero peace at all. That's their private time. I can understand, especially at a signing, if I've been followed around all day and I don't want to be, like, I'm going to have an attitude. So for any talent in Vegas this year, I'm giving them talent. I'm giving them
that wasn't the situation though. The situation was he signed it in the wrong color. The guy was like, but he was just being a dick. A lot of people in the line were saying the same thing. So that's kind of what I'm getting at there. And there's been countless stories about Shelley over the years of him really being a prick. Bottom line of it is, Motor City Machine Guns never got over in WWE. I never really saw them as that team. It's just like, no different than Paul London when he was teaming with Billy Kidman. They never got over either. But Paul London and Billy Kidman individually were great talents. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin individually are great talents. Motor City Machine Guns, they're a great tag team. They were one of my favorite tag teams in TNA. I just don't like the prick shit. That's what I'm getting at here. Okay. But you're absolutely correct about how the wrestlers were treated in Las Vegas. But hey, listen, blame TKO for that because they're the ones who wanted to have WrestleMania in Las Vegas for the second year.
I hope they never do it again, bro.
They wanted that because it was supposed to be in New Orleans. Remember, they were supposed to go to New Orleans for that, and so you blame them. You blame them for the lack of security. Why didn't you guys, why didn't you hook up with Las Vegas Metro PD or something to have a security team there? Where was your security team? How come you get a hotel where you lock it down? And I understand that the hotel they were at, I think they were, they said they were at the MGM Grand or something like that. That's where they were, a lot of wrestlers say.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so the whole thing came into play where the whole thing came into play about them having, private moments and the whole thing happened, I'm like, bro, at the end of the day, you kind of, I understand that, but you're kind of in public. And
yeah, true.
that's the bottom line. What would it have been? Would D Vader be in Bailey's face or AJ Lee's face? No, because I don't give a shit. So I wouldn't be in their face. But you got some mark standing there with a camera, and they're having a private moment. Maybe you can have that private moment somewhere else. Because you already know you got all these people around, you got no security, and then the security that was there, they weren't doing anything. So it was just an entire cluster, bro. It's an entire cluster, and it's not, and you can, the fans are but the fans are dumbasses to begin with. A lot of them. just keep it 1,000. It was like you got some insane people out there that just do stupid shit, bro. And that's all I saw. All the videos I seen, it's just people doing stupid shit all day long.
And that's all it was.
My God, you give people, and it makes the rest of the wrestling fans look bad because you guys are just fanatical. And then it's like you have the real fans that pay the money to actually go to the signings, and there's no issues. An official WWE signing at the world, outrageous, crazy prices, which I would never pay. But even still, those are the fans that pay to be in that situation. Yeah. Not the ones that hang around the airport that want to hang around to get shit signed. You already know when you got somebody come up, bro, and they got books and they got, posters and all kinds of shit, and they just got it.
It's going to eBay.
It's going to eBay. That's what it is, man.
That was the first time I seen that. And I was just like, bro, that's crazy. Like, where were you hiding? It was
they were around.
It was like, bro, where did you come? And it wasn't just there. It was at the hotels. It was like, bro, where are y'all coming from? Y'all just hang around and just, do you have a schedule of theirs or something? Like, where did you come from?
Somebody had to be leaking, bro.
Bro, it was wild. I have never seen nothing like that. Never.
Yeah. So, like I said, going back to the releases. So, just Motor City Machine Guns. They just, to me, they never got over. Like the crowd, they got no crowd reaction whatsoever, and it kind of makes me wonder now that the last thing I seen on SmackDown, bro, was Jacob Fatu destroying Tawa Tonga.
I wouldn't doubt it. It, bro.
I'm just like,
if TKO is really tasking them with clearing millions off the books, know more's coming. And
of course,
there's a lot of contracts coming up. Maybe they won't renew. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. I hope I'm wrong, but right now it's looking like they ain't done.
Well, let me ask you this question: How much longer do you think they have being WWE? How much longer do you think they can last?
Bro, the writing's on the wall. It's not the WWE of old. Let's just be completely 100% no gimmick. It hasn't been WWE for a while, and it's getting to the point where it's way too corporate. It's way too noticeable, and it's not catering to the fan. I hate saying that. But it's true. This company is being controlled corporately. It's being ran like a business and not like a family-owned business anymore, a family-owned operation.
Well, let's not get it twisted, though. Vince did releases as well. Nick Khan. Nick Khan was doing releases for Vince when Nick Khan got there, and they've always done releases, but the releases that they did, there's always a method to the madness.
And that's where I'm at. That's where
you got guys here that you're trying to restructure a deal. Like, you want us to take a pay cut. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. So that don't make no sense. That doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, and they're gonna feel that. They're gonna feel that. And it wouldn't be surprising to me, honestly, man, if they eventually brought the New Day back. You're muted.
My bad. But yeah, it's the method to the madness. Like under Vince, you wouldn't have seen what you're seeing now, right? And I'm just gonna let's not talk New Day, right? Real quick. Let's talk Wyatt Six, because if you have an entity such as a Bray Wyatt that meant so much to the fans, you wouldn't cut the entire roster of the Wyatt Six, right? Because Vince understood that having someone like a Bo Dallas, who is Bray's brother, real life brother, would be endearing to the fans. So rather than outright release him, you at least try to find something to work for him, right? That didn't happen with TKO. Matter of fact, they went the complete opposite. Not only did they not find something to work for him and find a proper closeout for him before releasing him, it felt like it was just abrupt. Like they completely rushed everything. All right, here you go. Wash our hands, done. We'll see you later. It's business. And that's the difference between a Vince releasing and a TKO releasing. Vince understood the fan aspect of it. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. There are gonna be certain releases that, yes, it'll hurt, but there may be room down the line, right? You're always open to come back. Under TKO, it doesn't seem that way. It seems like we're clearing books. And if the books actually match up to it, okay, cool. But you've seen a lot of NXT talent rise up. And with that, you've seen a lot of releases. There's correlating data there. Those contracts under NXT aren't as heavy as the ones that you release. So now you have the opportunity to make new stars and have fresher books. It's business. It sucks. It does suck.
Well, it kind of shows me that they didn't really give a shit about Bray Wyatt like they claimed they did. Because if you did, you would have found a spot for Bo Dallas. You would have found a spot for the whole faction here. So you didn't really give it. But the writing was on the wall for them when they came here to Texas, and the Whataburger picture, where they were all out of costume and they were at the restaurant. And a lot of people got mad about that. I know, like, Mark Henry got mad about that, saying they broke kayfabe or whatever. So I think what it comes down to is that you're never gonna have that kind of energy again when it comes to that type of gimmick. And I think that the writing was on the wall for them the moment that they did that. And then the constant battle back and forth with the MFTs, that is what I think showed right there. We have nothing for these guys. We're gonna let this run out. And it's funny, they released the YS6 and the MFTs at the same time. That's crazy.
Yep. And it's wild, man. This whole window of releases, it just don't make sense. It really don't make sense. Especially considering, like, the storylines that you could have had, you didn't have them. And the opportunities that you had in front of you, you just kind of stacked up space on the roster. And I'll say what I'm thinking, because I don't know if anybody else feels this way. It feels like a lot of these people that got released only got re-signed to keep them away from AEW. It's exactly what it feels like.
That is exactly Mundo. That is it right there. That is exactly why everybody that they brought back, they could have went over there. And they were basically just harboring the talent, keeping them in WWE so they wouldn't go over there. Now, we don't need them anymore. We have devalued them to the point where we've killed them off. They're not worth what they were at the time where they could have went to AEW. So now, I mean, what happens now if Kofi and Xavier show up on AEW TV? Well, first of all, they're not. I mean, Kofi can be Kofi. He can't be Kingston, but he can be Kofi. That's his name.
Yeah.
Austin Creed, he can, that's what you'll get. And you'll probably see some fresh matches there. I mean, I know MJF put out a tweet that says it's a new day. Yes, it is. He put that out. Now, was he trolling them, or was he talking about, okay, let's bring him in? I mean, could you imagine you can finally have the Young Bucks versus New Day? You can finally do that in AEW. You know, you got Cope and Christian. You can probably do something with them in the New Day as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of momentum there that they can still do. And you talk about the video game. Okay, cool. You can have Austin Creed work with Kenny Omega on the next AEW video game. There's a lot of things here that can be done that can actually work to better and broaden AEW's business. AEW has the opportunity of a lifetime right now to get that momentum going, especially as we head into next year's WrestleMania, which is not a very popular WrestleMania as we know it.
Yeah.
So they have a lot at stake here that they can use a lot of these talents. I'm not saying, oh, let's pick up everybody that they release. No, pick up the people that you can do something with. Can they do something with the Motor City Machine Guns? Absolutely, they can do something with the Motor City Machine Guns in AEW. Can you do something with the New Day in AEW? Absolutely, you can do something with the New Day in AEW. Can you do something with the Wyatt Six in AEW? Yeah, you can. So, well, then you can pretty much bring in everybody. You can bring them in. you can literally bring them in, and you can do stuff.
You could.
I mean, could you bring in? And we saw the story that she ghosted Tony Khan. Can you bring in? I mean, it's Malachi because he'll be Malachi again.
Mm-hmm.
Is he willing? Is he willing to do business this time around? Is he willing to do business?
And here's the thing on that too is I think his exit may have burned the bridge. His exit from AEW. I think it may have burned the bridge. He's gonna have to rebuild that. Because if you looked at when he got released, there was a lot of AEW talent saying we don't want him back.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same sentiment right now, where they've tweeted out,
"Yep,
we don't want him back." So
compare that to the New Day,
right?
Where they're like, bring them immediately. Immediately.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's a lot, and this obviously is gonna test where Tony Khan is right now, because I honestly, if you have somebody like a Malachi Black who left the company, and he's not the only one, they get back to WWE. There's people. I'm looking at you, Rusev. If you're not there any longer, you kind of burned the bridge on your way out too. If I'm Tony Khan. Do I allow these people to come back, especially knowing that my roster is saying we don't want him back in our locker room?
So Tony Khan he's got to put his Vince McMahon on for a minute, put that Vince hat on, and this is what D Vader does here on this podcast. I bring up the history of the business. You remember when back in the day, 2002, Vince went to his roster. He says, "I'm thinking about bringing in the NWO." And, he went to certain people about what they thought. People were like, hell no. To Hall and Nash, like, no, don't want to bring him in. They had no real beef with Hogan, but they did not want Hall and Nash there because all the, these two tried to put us out of business. So why the hell would we bring them in here? And that's kind of what it was. And Vince, says, well, I appreciate your opinion, but I'm going to bring him in. Triple H was cool with bringing them in. The Rock was cool because The Rock saw, he could do something with Hogan.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it is. Tony Khan's going to have to make that decision right now. Go to your roster. Go to the people that you talk to, you trust. Get their, get their thoughts on the situation. Go to Chris Jericho. Go to Chris Jericho. Go to Bryan Danielson. Go to Kenny Omega, Young Bucks. All these different people that you talk to, you trust. Should we bring in Malachi? Should we bring in Zelina Vega? What can they do for us, bro? You need to be bringing in Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Is what you need to be doing.
Honestly, I would have been did that.
Yeah, so I don't know what's up with that. I think, but from what I get from what I'm thinking, Karrion Kross is kind of like not really wanting to, sign. Killer Kross is kind of like not wanting to sign anybody. I don't blame him. I think he just kind of maybe thinks that go back to WWE, whatever. But I'm like, bro, like, no, like, and it's like Matt Cardona. They just brought him back. Okay, what happens to Matt Cardona at this point? Because everybody is expendable at this.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
like,
true.
I just and I hate having this conversation about people potentially losing their jobs, but it is what it is. I don't see him if I'm looking at this roster here, I'm cutting him.
Listen, it's an interesting time because you have WWE in this position. AEW is quietly rebuilding, and their shows are getting strong. I watched Collision last night for the first time in almost 2 years. Honestly, great show. Every champion that they had a match defending the title. The TNT champion main evented the show. The AEW champion main events Dynamite. They have structure. They have great stories going on, and they're quietly rebuilding. They have partnerships with CMLL. You seeing people have dual contracts with AEW, New Japan, AEW, CMLL. MLP will probably be in that mix. It's an interesting time, bro, especially if you start looking at what's happening next year and the releases that are going on this year. People don't have to outright go to AEW. They can go to a different company like New Japan, have a dual contract. They can work together with AEW. Forbidden Doors coming up. That presents more opportunities, get more eyes on people. And by the way, you have this hidden promotion from a guy who has defined the history of the business in Vince Russo that I am not lying to you. JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, is very, very popular on the indie scene. If they keep building like I know they will, next year is going to be extremely interesting in the landscape of pro wrestling, considering the fact that you have free open market in the United States. And if these people decide to band together, Vince Russo is on record saying he wants to work with Tony Khan. Work with him, not for him, with him. And if we get that partnership, next year is going to be crazy, especially if WWE is in Saudi. America is ripe for the taking. It's going to be crazy.
Listen, I'm all for the smaller guys joining with the bigger guy, which is Tony Khan, to take on the machine. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? And I think they can pull it off. I've always liked Vince Russo. I've never had an issue with Russo. I interviewed Russo like a couple times already. He's a real cool guy to talk to. So I got no problem with that at all, man. I just think that they need to keep that upward momentum.
Yeah,
in what they're doing. We're seeing right now too. We're seeing the decline in TNA. You know, which is what something we said a few months ago on this podcast. That okay, without WWE, what do you have?
It's, for me personally, I would have never done the deal with WWE. I would have never done that partnership, especially with where they were before they did that partnership. I don't think they are better than they were before that partnership.
Personally. No, when they changed the name over back to TNA, they had so much momentum. Everybody was hyped about that.
They were building their own stars.
The whipping boy. Exactly. That's what I looked at that as. You were building your own stars. Like, okay, this is actually cool because I said it many times in this show. Why not just go back to TNA? This Impact Wrestling thing has never worked. Why not go back to TNA? They went back to TNA, and then all of a sudden you became WWE's whipping boy. I mean that's what it is.
Yep.
That's kind of how I look at that.
You lost people like, listen, Joe Hendry, what he was for TNA. I mean, he is kind of getting there he's getting bigger than he was in TNA and WWE. But imagine if that guy would have stayed in TNA. Imagine if you had Jordan Grace still. Like they had some names over in TNA that they got taken away, and now they're part of WWE. If those names would have became household names in TNA would have been way better off than they are right now.
Well, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, look at back in the day when they let AJ Styles leave. When AJ took a pay cut. Yep. And AJ was the guy there. He was the Cena there.
Yep.
Same thing when Jeff Jarrett left. You knew it was in trouble when these two guys leave.
Yep.
Then Kurt Angle left, and then Sting left, and then you already knew what it was. And it's like they to me lost a lot of their momentum. You were building your own people. You had Moose out there doing his thing. They had so much stuff going on to just be like, okay, we're WWE's basically We're with boy. Like we're the farm system now. We're gonna feed them talent. That's all they're doing.
Yep.
Is you're just feeding. And then the shit they pulled with AEW, where you had people that wanted to see this match between MJF and Nick Nemeth, and they pull it. And then
it was supposed to be last night, by the way.
Yeah. Well, you pull it because you got. It's just I don't know, man. That's another podcast for another day.
It's crazy. But on these releases, man, we gotta have. I'm gonna ask Bill Bakken to come back because we got a fantasy book.
Yeah,
we got to fantasy book some stuff, man. And the landscape right now, it was already interesting. It just became a lot more interesting, especially considering what WWE TKO is doing. So,
yeah.
Final shots and thoughts, bro. What you got?
Final shot is pretty much, man. Been away from the podcast for a while. I was going to start back, getting back into this, but yeah, not the way to start or end the weekend, I should say. Like, it's not a new day. I can tell you that much.
The bad day.
This is a bad day, and this is and it's on not just a new day. It's just all the talents that lose your damn job. That's not the way you want to go out. It's like, and it's gonna make me wonder watching the TV and just seeing just how they're moving with talents, bro. Like, they better not release Tama Tonga, man.
Listen, if they do, I would say go back to New Japan, but I wouldn't mind seeing them in AEW.
I think AEW is where it's going. New Japan's not popping like it was at a few years ago. New Japan at one point was hot, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, are they going to pay like they were? They're not going to pay like Tony Khan. And these guys probably, that's the reason why they came to, the WWE in the first place. They got tired of being in Japan, so I think if you're going to bring in, and I'm most likely thinking too, if let's just hypothetically say that Tama Tonga goes, right? Tama Tonga gets released as well. Okay, he hooks up with his brother. I'm assuming they could be the Guerrillas of Destiny again in AEW.
Yeah.
I think they can do that, and I think they can use some music as well. I think they can do a lot of different stuff. So I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen with that. Tama Tonga, I don't want the brother to become almost and just get lost in the shuffle there. But it seems to me like they're going to be building this new blood. Or not new blood, bloodline faction is what just bringing the whole thing back. You're basically saying the NWO again. It's pretty much what you're saying right now. They're going back to that, But yeah, other than that, no, bro. Like tomorrow, May the 4th, big day, Star Wars Day. Waiting for that. Been digging this Maul Shadow Lord show on Disney Plus. It's pretty cool. Yep. We're down to the last 2 episodes of that shit. I'm thinking Vader's coming, so that's gonna be kind of cool to see that. Me and Gib are gonna get back into the Rebel Empire. We're gonna be back into a lot of stuff here. my man cave was in shambles.
I saw.
Yeah, it was in shambles, but it's back. It's good. I got all the stuff. I haven't taken any pictures yet, but it's good. So we're about to get back into the saddle here and ride again, pretty much. So That's pretty much all I got going over here.
Love it, man. Love it. Like you said, man, a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. No gimmicks wise, we are ramping up operations. Shout out to all the indies around Texas. We're working our way around the state. So be tuned in. We will have a lot coming to you on that front as well. But other than that, bro, I got nothing else.
Got nothing else either.
All right, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Y'all know what it is. Until next time, take care of each other. Enjoy what you're going to enjoy. Peace.
And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks.